Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are on the tail end of Women History Month. Yep, the tail end. The whole month of March was Women History Month, and we have been exploring some phenomenal things that women have been doing. Women inventors, women explorers. We have been experiencing, exploring the things that women do. So we're going to come to a conclusion tonight on Women's History Month. We're going to talk about women and all the good things that they do, and just everyday women, not just those superstar women, but everyday women. We're going to talk about them because they mean a lot to this world. To be honest, they really mean a lot, and we're going to talk about that. And of course, we got the good news. My book, Good News at Primetime. You can get it at lulu.com. Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes, of course. You can get it at lulu.com. It is a very powerful book, and it will enhance your life, inspire you to do good, and all of those other wonderful things you want to think about women. Okay, of course, everybody else is good. It's good for them as well. And so we're going to not hold it any longer. We're going to bring on my co-host, Mr. Reggie Drummer, and let him tell us a few things. Hi, Reggie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, doing outstanding. Definitely feeling good, feeling powerful, feeling empowered. I read a power thought earlier, so I'm feeling really good. And being that we're talking about women just in general in history, in our lives, our families, and our communities, I'm excited. I think about the women that have really influenced me in my life, uh, starting with my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, and so many other women that I've come in contact with, wife, ex-wife, and even daughters and granddaughters. All of that, So as a male, I'm really always tipping my hat off to the ladies.
Yeah. And women's, they are important. I was thinking here, they always say I'm going to Big Mama's house. It's not going to
Ah,
Papa's house. It's going to Big Mama house. Big Mama house, was an important one because Big Mama going to cook for us. She going to soothe us, tell us the right direction to go and help us solve problems and all of that. She was there. She was there. And so, women are important. A lot of people, they take women for granted. Even women take women for granted. Because,
oh yeah.
it's like they're there for us and we know they're there, but we never, take it serious. We just take it for granted. They're going to be there for us and help us out and all of that. Even girlfriends. We take our girlfriends sometimes for granted. But when you look back and think about it, they're there for us. They help us out. They help share our tears. And if somebody upset us and do us wrong, they're ready to jump on them for us and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Women are important.
Well, you made me think. Now, when you say Big Mama, and even though we're talking about women in general, Big Mama is really pointing to the direction of Black women because
Mhm.
you really didn't have a white Big Mama. Okay, Big Mama was not only would she take care of her family, she took care of other people's family.
Yeah.
Usually, I think about my grandmother, her sisters who were my great aunts. All of them were women that pretty much did some type of service, whether it be maid service, things of that nature. And then their mothers were, who was my great great grandmother. She was a woman that helped the local doctor. She was a midwife. She was a pharmacist, because she could go out into the woods and gather things that we look at now, you know, herbs. She was doing that back in the 1880s. Okay. You know,
Yeah.
she was doing all that back then in the prime of her time, and she was helping families stay healthy, wealthy, and wise. So Big Mama is kind of uniquely pictured into the African American society. And when you think about the work, even I don't know today, you don't have too many Big Mamas. They call them G Mamas. You know, it's different names now. People say,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm not a Big Mama drummer. I'm a I'm the G Mama, the good mama, or the good aunt." You know, things of that nature. But when you look at Big Mamas and their position and role in the family, it was critical. You know, like I say, not just in black families, but white families as well. Even when it came down to problems,
Yeah.
Big Mama was the person that white people went to. Anytime they had a problem in the black community, because she would say, hold up, wait a minute, I'll take care of that. I got that. And they would count on Big Mama to do those things. And then people respected Big Mama, even during Jim Crow and all those days. Because, you know, we get a lot of, when people say black people took a lot of hits, but we did. But at the same time, people often respected Big Mama and her position, whether it was black or white.
Yep, they did. And my mom, she was Momo. She
Momo,
was, yeah, Momo. That was her nickname for as a grandmama, Momo. So
Momo.
everybody wanted to go to Momo. You know, when they had problems, go to Momo. They need food, go to Momo. Cause Momo had food. You know,
Okay.
the more modern day families, they didn't always have a supply of food like they, you know, like you would think they would. But
Mm-hmm.
my mom, she had freezers. One of her grandchildren needed food. Come and get it, baby. You know, go in there and
Wow.
get whatever you want. My mom had 5 deep freezers. You
Whoa.
know, so not only did she feed herself, but she fed her grandchildren. She fed her nieces and nephews and other family members, other people in the community. You know, she was putting it out there for them. You know,
Wow.
let them have it.
Well, you bring up a very important piece. Unlike today, uh, for instance, all of my aunts and great aunts, even my mother and her sisters, were able to have food ready for multiple people. You know, they not only cooked and prepared food, all of them was capable of growing food.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we don't see now. And not only would they grow food for themselves, but for their families and extended families and people in the community. And I think that was one reason, especially in the black community, our communities were a little stronger. You know, now people, we got more money, but we missing all those other things because we spend money on groceries, we spend money on eating out. You know, you look at Big Mama, she's capable of cooking food for 20, 30 people.
Yeah. Yeah. And like my mom, when you mentioned raising food, my mom, she would raise, you know, like peas and beans or whatever. Somebody else might raise some corn or okra or green, and they would share food. You know, come on and
Right,
get these greens. You know, come and get these peas. And when pecan season came, they were always calling my mom, come and get some pecans. My mom would go pick pecans and, of course, give me some and I bring them back here.
okay.
But, you know, they were sharing food, you know, and so you don't see that a lot around here. Of course, you know, with the pandemic, they're giving food boxes and stuff like that away. But what about raising the food and sharing fresh food, you know, from your garden? I don't see that happening now.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think, well, everything goes back around. One of the things, because that gift is missing. People long for what's missing. For instance, with all this pandemonium or pandemic, people are thinking, they're like, because it ain't illegal yet, but people are thinking, what can I do to protect and prepare my family? But that's what Big Mama did. Big Mama was in cases of where the men were removed from the family. Big Mama stood in the gap. Oh, a lot of good things. I'm looking at these quotes that we got. These are some powerful quotes from Michelle Obama, Serena Williams. The things that they reflect to on the inspiration to others and having a strong female person. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. We should raise each other up. Make sure our courageously and be strong, be extremely kind, and above all, be humble. So we see women today lifting each other up and coming together. I think one of the focal points of the Black and brown community and all communities is the woman. Okay. Yeah. Especially in the Black culture, our women brought a lot of culture from the motherland, whether they be here in the United States, down here in the islands, or down in Brazil, wherever you had Black and brown people. The mother was a critical piece in that whole keeping that family together. What they call a big mama, Momo, little mama, grandmama, whatever. Yeah. Auntie, she was the one that kept, in cases of where women had babies early, the big mama would step in and you didn't have to worry about that baby being put up for adoption. Okay? Right. You didn't have to worry about that baby not being taken care of. Because Big Mama, no matter what, was going to take care of that baby. And, unlike today, people have to put their kids up for adoption. Matter of fact, Big Mama would also raise white babies. Mm-hmm. And even Big Mama would also raise the babies of the slave masters that had Black babies. Yeah. Okay. Big Mama. Oh yeah. So when you look at the importance, like I say, women are not just, we look at women more. I don't care who it is. You catch a guy that's been in jail. I've seen people cry. You might tell them, man, this gonna hurt your daddy. But when you tell them, man, this gonna hurt your mama, it touches them. I've seen men cry because they said, big uncle, I didn't want to do this. I was doing this. I said, man, don't let your mama down. And when you see people, even when they make money, they try to take care of who? Mama. The mama. Yeah, they always they know. But you know what? No, what I don't understand is, okay, children, they give their mom such a hard time and they don't always listen to them. And they would, like fathers, that they would do what the fathers say much quicker than they would their mom. Give mom the hardest time. But at the end, mom is the one they go to. A child father hurt his knee, bypass dad and go straight to mom. Yeah. Or whatever is happening, they go to mom first, But yet still they give mom the hardest time. That's one I never understood. Well, not in all cases, it depends on the family unit. Say in my family unit, I never wanted to do anything that would make my mom look bad. Yeah, well, neither did I. Yeah, I mean, because I saw the amount of work that my mother was putting in to make sure we had some good things. Reading this from the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassion action of its members. That's from Coretta Scott King. But, I also think about a quote from Minister Farrakhan. He say, a nation is measured by how they treat their women.
Mm.
Okay, within your
Uh-huh.
family structure, how you treat your mother, you can find out a lot about people how they treat their mother. Now,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, uh, there's a lot of things. My mother passed back in December, but even up to then, it was things that I wouldn't even do in the presence of my mother.
Yep. I
Because,
always gave my mom respect, man.
oh yeah,
I couldn't even, to this day, I have not said a cuss word in front of my mom.
mm-mm.
Even as a grown woman, I would not say a cuss word. Man, it was hard for me to even say pregnancy in front of her.
Wow. Okay,
you
okay.
know, because the way she brought me up, and I guess, and you definitely wouldn't cuss in front of her because she better hit you in the mouth, and you don't want that. You definitely didn't want that. But women are caregivers, and they definitely deserve the respect that you give them.
Oh yes. Oh, and when you think about it, women are the nucleus of the family.
Yeah.
Even in the case, if you get a divorce, just say if a man and woman have kids, it's
Mm-hmm.
a natural process for people for the children to cater to the mother's side. Okay,
Yeah.
rarely do you have men that keep the kids after a divorce. Okay, some do, but the majority of divorces, the woman keeps the children. So therefore, the children get more attached to her mother, uh, her dad, and those people. So on the women, most people cater to the woman's side of the family. Now, some men, you have their sons that come over after a period of time to be with dad. Okay,
Yeah.
but the majority, and you see these quotes that we have from several women, Harriet Tubman, all that just share stuff, so much wisdom over the years. But when you look at the family caters to the female energy. Okay, and that's a natural process. Okay, because just say even though the family is changing. Okay, what I mean by
Mm-hmm.
that, male, female producing offspring, and then they stand together, creating offspring that create offsprings, and you got a nucleus of a family. Now you got a big mama, you got a granddaddy, the whole traditional nucleus of family is there. But now families have been broken. Big mama has been removed out of the family. Now, even in the absence of a male, Big Mama kept down what we call law and order within the family. She
Yeah.
taught, she nurtured, she did all those things because, just say in my case, in my grandmother, when my mother and her sister got divorced, which was my aunt, they ended up bringing 4 males back to my grandmother's house. Well, my grandmother was like our big mama. She had rules, she had different things. Now, 4 males with a lot of energy, she came up with a program that didn't make us weak, but it made us strong because she gave us work, she gave us meaning, she gave us stuff to do. She would cook. Now, it wasn't like we were cooking, but anything, washing dishes, making sure stuff was done around the house and all those things, we were doing those things, even
Mm-hmm.
as males. So today, by a strong woman figure being missing in a household, you have a weaker generation of offspring, of children. But I think it's coming back where women are starting to reassert themselves. Even when we see the news and we think the nucleus of the Black family has broken down and all this type of stuff, we see a lot of women that are standing tall. When we look at, even now, 3 of the most powerful women, Miss Jackson if she should get the Supreme Court nominee. Kamala Harris, vice president. We got so many women, Stacey Abrams rallying so many people to vote here in Georgia and possibly the next governor of Georgia. We see so many women asserting their value, and these are across the board in every population group. You look at not just in the United States, but across the board. There are women in more powerful positions all across the whole diaspora of Africa, the different places. Women are up in power. You look at Europe, women are up and rising in power. Even in the Ukraine and Russia, women are coming up.
Yeah.
And when women are allowed to assert their position, it moves for a better spiritual nation. For instance, America, under the presidency of who's that? Roosevelt. His wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, moved and motivated a country to be more compassionate. Even though we were in a war, World War II, that was, because before Eleanor Roosevelt, nobody, pretty much, you didn't know who the first lady was. She was the
they
first.
Were always quiet.
Right. She was the first lady to have some position of authority. She was just, she was because you think about it, nobody knows who Lincoln's wife was.
Yeah, you're right. But you know what? The men always kept the women in the background because they want to be the strong person.
Right.
And even today, men want to dominate the women. But there are women who now are standing up saying, no, I'm not being dominated. I mean,
so we're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. All those.
Yeah, they are standing up, and we have some strong women. And you know what? A lot of women stick together too. I mean, you can even see that in just friends. They all go to sit at the dinner table at the restaurant. One get up and go to the bathroom. Everybody get up and go to the bathroom.
Right. Yeah. Back in the day,
to say in there that they don't want to hear men to say here.
Right. Well, because you're gonna catch too many men going to the bathroom together. But women get up, they give each other that look, and next thing you know, they go into the little ladies' room. Well, believe it or not, that's and you notice it in other parts of the animal kingdom. They call us mammals. Okay. Even though we listed as Homo sapiens, that type thing, but we're mammals, we're nurturers. For instance, when you look at other groups that have offspring, the amphibians, they have so many, they can't keep up with all of them. They don't nurture their offspring. Okay?
Right.
Birds may do a little nurturing, but mammals tend to cuddle and feel some type of connection for their offspring. Now, humans, because we're more elevated and we're more, intelligent, we associate something else with that. So we, as a tendency, if you look in that whole animal kingdom, the nurturers are always the women, the female, the lion. They actually go out and hunt, bring back food, all this type of stuff. Gorillas, all these animals. Well, in the human population, even with males rewriting the social order of behavior, because males tend to write it where, this is what we want the roles of the women to be. If you look at a lot of the shows that we grew up watching, the lady was in the kitchen cooking. The man had a job. He went and provided. And even if you look at Westerns, you look at all those folk, A lot of these quotes got to read this from Angela Davis. I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. Whoa. So we see women pushing back. You know, we got to think about a lot of our sheroes too, as they pop up across the screen. But when we looked at women and their position in history, you know, we look at a lot of those westerns, all those Rifleman, Bonanza, all those folk was raising men without women, okay? And those were white males. Well, fast forward to where we see today, women started asserting themselves and saying, you know what? We don't want that narrative, okay? Don't write us out of the script. You know, a lot of these westerns that you saw on television, the women typically, if they were alive, they was like Miss Kitty. In Gunsmoke, she worked at a bar. Miss Kitty didn't have no kids. Miss Kitty, I ain't gonna tell you what Miss Kitty was, but Miss Kitty was just there. Hazel, remember Hazel? You know, Mr. B, Mr. B. You know, she was basically a white big mama taking care of Andy Griffin. What's Ain't B? Ain't B? And, you know, you remember all these characters. Well, they started
women
to bring
in the servitory positions.
Right. Yeah. But they started to bring forward, they at least inserted women into the family structure so we could see. And then they went to what's those big families they had, the Brady Bunch and all these people. So women started coming forward at a different light in the community. Even in Black culture, we saw Julia. You remember her? She was a single mother. We saw different women starting to come up. And then that moved and motivated women to want to do something. Plus, the Women Live movement started pumping in the 60s. And believe it or not, with all that, and you read the Constitution, now, the Constitution gave everybody the right to do this and right to do this and right to do this. And women had to go back into the Constitution, I think around 1920, to recommit the white males to allow white females to vote. They had to do this in 1920. Now, already Black males coming out of slavery were allowed to vote in 1865. So you say, whoa. You know, it should have been an automatic thing for women not to go through women's suffrage and all that stuff. But because the male psyche, and even when they gave Black men the right to vote, they did not give Black females the right to vote.
Right. Only the males, the male domination thing again.
And then look what happened. This just shows you how critical that was, because even though they had to go back in there after Reconstruction, because white women started saying, I can't believe y'all letting them slaves vote. Okay? So now you got to go back into the Constitution, figure some stuff out. You got to bring Susan B. Anthony out. Then she got to go through this stuff, all this women's suffrage, banging, and get women the right to vote. And then you got to fast forward again, 1965, you got to bring back Black and brown people the right to vote again. The voting rights act was signed by Johnson. And even today, women are asserting their value, because when it comes down to judges, when it comes down to Senate and House of Representatives, you know, it's more women in the United States than men.
Yeah. But then yet still it's the men who are taking over, who's controlling everything.
Yeah, their reflection was, you know, especially the white male, their reflection was shown everywhere, but that's changing because women are more empowered today than they've ever been.
Yeah, they are. And we've got to still stand up and be empowered and not let, you know, them say that you can't. Because a lot of women, they want to rise up, but then again, they don't want to offend the male partners. You know, because you have
Right.
a lot of men who are, I guess they would have a tendency to feel inferior to a woman if she has more money and more brains than he does. And that's why a lot of women, they don't reach their full potential because they don't want to make the male feel inferior. You know,
Right.
they want him to feel like he's the man of the house, so they keep it down low a little bit and not do what
Right.
they need to do. And a lot
Right.
of times that hurts them in the long run because at the end, sometimes they man gone on, and
Right.
she's, wish she had a did what she needed to do.
Well,
So
well,
you know,
again, the like the governance structure is dictating our behavior towards each other. For instance, um, when you look at not just the government, but the religious community as well, dictating where the women are. You know, going into the garden, you know, you're saying men are right here from God, and then out of men come women. Now, that order alone puts a woman lower than the man. Now, when you go to African culture or culture that teach that, and this, you know, is taught that the woman is like kind of third in the Trinity. You got God, you got man, and now you got the woman. So when you practice that behavior, especially in this culture, it has a tendency to, from a religious point, to put the woman lower than the man. The man is the head of the household. The man is this, the man is that. And even now, women up until about 20, and in some churches and mosques and places, women are still not allowed to bring a message from God.
yeah,
Okay. Now, case in point, we celebrating Easter. Some of us are. Now, the women were the first ones to come back and let them know that Christ had risen. But they said, oh, we can't do that. We can't let them. No, 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 no. Women can't say nothing without the man telling them that he saw it first and he allowed her to do that. Now, women have changed that. When you look in the ministry, whether it's dealing with Protestants, Catholics, Muslims, across the board, women are rising up in the religious community. I was just recently listening to something from Minister Farrakhan.
mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, he's elevated women in the Nation of Islam. Because one thing, women is too many women. You ain't gonna be able to control.
Yeah, I mean, women are stepping up. I mean, look at them trying to be governors, lieutenant governors,
They won't be.
presidents. They want to be presidents. I mean, they can do it. And the thing is, that men, they don't want women to dominate them. It's like,
Well,
no, I am not going to let a woman dominate me. You know, I mean,
that's,
we don't have a problem in being equal to a man or letting them be the hierarchy. We have no problem with that. But then if we have the knowledge, why not let us lead? I mean, that's just like it is with driving in a car. I mean, you know, as a female, you know where you're going, you know the rights and the left turns, and you try to tell the man that man won't listen. You know, you end up lost. You know, that's why it took a woman to invent the GPS, because man would not listen to woman. He'll listen to a machine first. You know, he don't want to pay any attention to a woman because the woman is supposedly not doing anything. You know, they don't have the brains of a man. You know, but women are very smart. They are very intelligent. If men would only listen, a lot of men they get in cracks, you know, because they won't listen to the woman. Then when they get in those cracks, and then they gonna talk back to the woman so she can get them out of it.
Now think about this, and I'm looking at something from Dorothy Height too. But again, that goes back to men that determine how women would be treated. For instance, when you go from a spiritual or religious standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
Men have the tendency to say the reason we don't listen to women, look what happened in the Garden of Eden. Man listened to a woman and all hell broke loose. So this is a taught behavior. So when men come in, they say, well, you get some guys that say, well, I let the little lady make some decisions about cooking and doing this, and men accept what we call traditional roles, and those traditional roles have been established really by white males. Okay? Now, when you look at in some culture, and it's across the board, you look at maybe in Asian culture, how the women are treated. You look at in African culture, okay, it's a different relationship pre-colonization. Before the colonizers came in a lot of, whether it was Egyptian or Kemet, women were at a different level. When you look at people like Cleopatra, a lot of goddesses on the African continent, they were at a same level or higher than men. Okay? They were considered different, but those practices became ignored when you came to especially colonizers' culture, because you had very few women that would go into a country and invade that country
But
and
you
take
know,
over
the
their
first
land.
warriors now, if I'm not mistaken, the first warriors were women. No, it was I could be mistaken. I could be
Well,
mistaken, but I know there were a lot of women
well,
warriors. You
well, there were
know?
some women. When you look at what's that, Jane Arc. Well, all those women were warriors. There were some sisters in different parts, and the only reason they had to fight was because of invasions. Okay, there's a sister down in Haiti that kicked butt. There's a sister down in Ethiopia that kicked butt. But it's still because of the dominance of the male culture, they wouldn't even mention these women. Okay, it was always like a helpmate. She was there to assist a male, and the male became the hero. Well, a woman's position, you know, is as high as she wants to be. Okay, now even in the psyche of some men, because some men, I just recently had a lady. She was allowed to preach at a church, and it was a deacon. He's about 90 years old. Now he had been saying, as long as I'm here, ain't no woman gonna ever step in that pulpit. Now, this brother thought that was the right thing to do, because that's what he's been taught. It took an act of God, the giver of days, the creator, the most high, to change his mindset. Well, women today, when you look at women being astronauts, women being in the military, you look at Ukraine right now. Guess who's on some people on the front line?
Well, women.
Women. Yeah. Guess who they recruit in Israel to help fight? Women. And United States, in America, we started recruiting women later for battle.
Yeah.
World War II, women was mostly nurses.
Nurses, yeah.
And then because the men were sent to battle, the women, they got these women doing like this. They were sent into the workplace to build stuff. But if it wasn't for World War II, America might have been 30 years before putting women into the workforce. Because when the men came back, the women were making the stuff that the males used to make. And then it hit them. Okay, now we got to raise some type of, because the guys were coming back and saying, I mean, this woman tried to tell me what to do. Well, she making the stuff they found out that women could do the same thing men could do. They just didn't have to type. They just didn't have to iron clothes and cook food. Women had to do those things that men were accustomed to doing. And see,
Yeah,
fast
and
forward.
women do a lot of things that men are
Oh yeah.
accustomed to doing. I mean, I ran across one lady who actually have her own mechanic shop, and she's working on
Oh yeah.
cars and doing, doing her
Yeah.
things. Sometimes, people would rather go to her than go to a man.
Well, what they say, anything a man can do, women can do better.
Yep.
Well, not to give up on a man, but what I'm saying, we have to be clear in our thoughts of what we're looking for. And when you suppress somebody's ability based on the fact that you don't think they can do it because they're a woman, case in point, and even racially, looking at different things. I believe that over the next, things constantly change and we evolve as a society. This is a taught behavior that women are less and can't do. This is a quote from Marva Collins. Trust yourself, think for yourself, act for yourself, speak for yourself, be yourself. Imitation is suicide. That's from Marva Collins. You think about a lot of women in history, like our family. I never had, I'm going to tell you this. Even my mom and dad separated when I was 6. Until my mom died, I still, and even now, I believe my mom could do anything.
Well, I know my mom could, because
Yeah.
my mom taught me so much. I mean, as far as cars, my mom she taught me how to change a flat on the car. I seen her go out there and change the batteries, change hoses in the car. And she influenced me to, just work on the car. Look, I'm out there changing my own spark plugs in the car,
Whoa.
So, and my dad taught me how to change the wipers in the car. So I feel like I'm good and checking the fluids and stuff like that. I can do that. There are a lot of women who think that's a man's job. It's like, why are you going to depend on a man to do stuff when you can do it yourself? Even, huh?
Again, taught behavior. This is stuff that's been taught to us and is being reinforced by, whether it be television, the newspaper, people saying this and saying that. It made me think of something, and this is relevant. This is today. Recently, just show how powerful women are. The other night, did you see the Oscars?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, comedian Chris Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife. Now, at first, Will Smith kind of laughed, but it's a look, especially black women. They give you a look like this ain't right. And she gave Will a look. Now, even though Will Smith was about to get an Academy Award, Will Smith realized, I done messed up. I got to do something. So Will Smith went up there and pimp slapped a presenter, Chris Rock, just slapped and then he proceeded to go on a rant to cuss him out. Yada, 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 keep my blanket wife, watch your blanket mouth, yada, yada, yada. Now people say, wow, how did that happen? Now, the woman who was insulted, she didn't have to say a word. She didn't whisper in Will Smith and say, you need to check him. She gave him a look. It's the same way if you look at Katrina, I forget how to pronounce her first name. Miss Brown Jackson that's being checked for approval to be the next Supreme Court Justice. You see how she give those folk the look? It's a look that only a black woman can give people, and they know. She like, really? You asking me these questions? She ain't got to say a word. She checked a couple of those people, guys, trying to get down on her. Well, that just shows you in the family, which is the most critical part of human existence, the woman is at the top of the hierarchy. The only reason a woman has to bring a male in, just say a mama that's holding down camp, a family, she really come to the male. She'll come to the male when stuff is out of control. Now, one time, I remember growing up that my grandmother or my mother had to either go to my granddaddy or my daddy to make a move or motivate us. They was able to do that regardless. Okay,
Yeah.
this is built in. I mean, it was certain things that they expected, rules, regulations, all this stuff, work ethic, all this stuff was taught to me by the women in my family. You know, I think about, just focusing on women in my family. When I look at that work ethic, what they were able to do, what they were able to achieve for women. I had an aunt that was teaching school at 19 years old. Now, she was going into the classroom teaching a high school at 19.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, because, things were different then, but she graduated when she was about 19. She went to college early.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. She went in there about 16 years old and came out. And you look at women, I look at my mother, who was in she worked as a store clerk, and she had to hold it down like a man. Even though she was a female, she had to hold it down, because men would be like, I know you can't do that, little sweetie. If you want me to come by and help you out, the sugar daddies. My mom was like, I don't need no sugar daddy.
Yeah.
She was quick to say Jesus was her sugar daddy. They come up there, flash a little money. My mom kept, she said, she done bought cars, she done bought houses. She didn't need men to come in and control her, telling her what she couldn't get, what she couldn't buy. Some women, because men, again, wanted to control the environment, but women have broken loose from that, and women are rising at so many different levels. I got nieces in my family that will achieve things that probably my grandmother and great grandmother could never see people doing. Women.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people have broken loose from being controlled, but then that doesn't keep them from trying. Men
they gonna try.
Because I've heard them men say, I'm beating my money. They give women money for stuff. I'm beating my money. They feel like it's okay to abuse women because they taking care of them. And that's why I always said, stand on your own 2 feet, have your own money, and think for yourself. Don't let them think for you, because they still want to dominate. But women, they have risen. They have risen big time. And even from mental abuse, the women have been mentally abused, physically abused, financially abused, emotionally abused, but they still rise.
Yeah.
They still rise.
Well, you think in the United States, prior to, I think, the 40s, a woman couldn't have a bank account. A woman couldn't, there was so many things a woman could not do. All the dumb rules were put in place by men. Women couldn't wear pants in church or something like that. Women, they had additional rules put in place to control the actions and efforts of women. Things started to open up, whether it be the military, doctors. A lot of women couldn't be doctors.
Yeah.
They could be a nurse. They could be a doctor.
Majority men doctors.
Yeah, but all that's changing.
Yeah, got a lot of women who are doing it now, but still majority men.
Now imagine this: women became more teachers. So now just think of how much of an oxymoron that is. A woman could teach you to be a doctor, but she couldn't be a doctor.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. So all this stuff, I think now because men are starting to realize, and it's a process of elimination. It's a process of evolution. You know, we get into a level where we see equality. I mean, gender-wise, race-wise, because we found out that a lot of the stuff that we said, and not getting all over the place. Just think, 40 years ago, I was taught that anything made in China was messed up.
Really?
Yeah. When in 82, when I got into the military, they said anything was made in Chinese, you took a 50-50 chance and crossed your fingers and hoped that it worked. Today, if you woke up Ronald Reagan, he'd be like, what? You know, you woke him up. Because, and Nancy, we have to tell him, Ronnie, guess what? Everything we got is made in China. Wow. He couldn't believe it. That's about 40, 50 years ago. Yeah. Now, fast forward, now we evolving. We thinking. We women are making us pay attention to a lot of the things that we should pay attention to. Why prepare for war all the time? Why not look at things that can help us, nurture us, make us feel better, make us love each other? And women are bringing that to the table. Not that women are weak, because trust me, women can put them hands on you. I've seen some women can lay down, they go, toe to toe. And it ain't how big they are or nothing, but men are starting to see the value of women. Yeah. It took a minute.
And psychologically, women get them. Because did you know the two highest scores in the IQs were women?
Wow. Well, look at the lady that helped crack the atom. Now we talk about Albert Einstein, but there's a I can't think of her name, but there's a Jewish German woman that after her husband died, she's madam, I can't think of her name, but she was the one that took what we know about the atom bomb to the next level.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Google. Now, they don't mention her because we talk about Albert Einstein, EMC squared, and all that type stuff. But the bomb, this lady was the one that gave the information that was critical for the production of that atomic bomb. She was a Jewish woman, German Jewish, coming out of that Germany, and by default she was defected her husband, and while working on producing the atomic bomb, he died. With everything he knew, she knew.
Yeah.
So they couldn't go to the males. They had to go to her, and she's credited with splitting and controlling what was done with that atom to put it in a place where it could do what it did to Japan.
Yeah. And did you know that more women go to college than men, and yet still more men get paid? Men get paid more money than women do. But more women.
Well, that's going to change. Because look again, women are applying for new positions. When you look at one thing, as a Supreme Court justice, you can't differentiate how you pay them. They get the same money. If a woman is a vice president, she get the same money that the last vice president got. When a woman becomes president, she gonna get the same money that the president got. Okay. Well, there's a certain amount of equality that's coming, and when it comes, because we breaking all these barriers. These barriers were set up when this place we call America was set up. It was set up just for the white males.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they weren't thinking about white women because they said, you know what, we don't even have to bring them over here.
Nope.
We can get the Indians. And wherever white men went, they weren't worried or concerned about bringing their women. Trust me on that.
But then
And
when you say
so,
they can get the Indians, they were killing off the Indians, though.
well, they were killing them all, but at the same time, they was impregnating through rape and all that.
Yeah.
Indians. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
when they found out that the white babies couldn't survive, that's when they said, we got to kill them off, all of them off. But right today, you still have a high, ask a lot of white people, they'll tell you, I got Cherokee, I got Choctaw in me. All that became because the white males did not bring a shipload of white women over here.
Yeah.
They took advantage of whoever in the land. You look at wherever colonizers went, they didn't bring no sand to the beach.
Yeah.
They took advantage of the women that were there. That's why you have such uh, uh, a melting pot of colors within a lot of these places. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
here in America, now they start importing white women later. But look, most white women don't look like white males. Their skin is different.
Yeah.
You look at them. Now you see a pale looking white woman every now and then. But white women were not strong enough to sustain themselves. They were dying in childbirth. All this stuff is deep. But anyway, fast forward.
Yeah.
Women are stronger.
Yeah, and when you mentioned died in childbirth, that reminds me again of male domination. You know, they always want the women to have babies, and it's killing the women. You know, so that was another thing I had against men. Want to control
Well,
the women. They
well,
want to
it's
control the women's body. They want them to get pregnant,
well,
but then they don't know about they don't know the pain they go through, how they have to
right.
suffer every month.
Well,
I mean,
well, look at the abortion law. Now, one of the things that's probably going to change because we're going to have more women on the Supreme Court. White men was making a decision on the Supreme Court
yeah,
about what women should do with their bodies. White men was like, you know what? I don't care where she get raped. And just think how gross that is. But this is something they believed anyway. Now, they would kill black babies back in the day, and some of them they let live. But they
mm-hmm.
kick them out, and Big Mama got to raise them. She got to feed them. She got to breastfeed them. She got to bring them food. She got to raise them up. Well, a lot of that's changing, but men always wanted to control the actions and the efforts of the women. So women are breaking free, and we see so many instances of women. You know, I think a lot about a lot of sisters that I have a great deal of respect, whether it be Billie Holiday, even though she was in entertainment. She had to leave up out of America. Eartha Kitt, who Lady Bird Johnson told her, she banned it. She told her husband, who was President Johnson, he said, you need to get that so-and-so up out of here. Now, Eartha Kitt, a little lady, but she did a lot of work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all our women, Angela Davis, one of the most wanted women right now in America, in the world by America, she living down in Cuba.
Mm.
She's the
Yeah.
most wanted woman. She wanted more than the terrorists that blew up the trade buildings.
Yeah.
She been on America's hot list since 1963.
And she's still down there, or she
She's
dead?
in Cuba.
Okay.
A
Okay.
black woman. I can't think of her name. I think something secure. You can Google it. Most wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and she got to be
They
online.
can't
So
stand to have a powerful woman, an outspoken woman. But
I don't know. Yeah.
hey, so long to everybody because and think about women, how powerful they are, and how beneficial they are, and how they add to this world. Okay, women are so strong. I mean, behind every successful man is a woman. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff the men do is because of a woman. And sometimes the work that they present for as saying that they did it, actually the woman did it. Okay, but behind every successful man is a woman, be it his sister, his mom, his wife, his girlfriend, his cousin. There's a woman behind him somewhere along the line, okay? And women, be strong. Always be strong. Keep your head up, and never put anybody else ahead of yourself. You always be the head, okay? I'm not saying try to dominate anybody, but don't put yourself on a lower level to make somebody else feel good. No, you step up to the plate. If you feel like you're queen, you act like queen. Don't act like a servant. Okay? You take that queen role. You don't have to dominate or anything like that, but take your role, your stand. You have a place in this world. Just like as a mother, we can be a mother and we can be a shop owner. We can have a business owner, be a business owner and a mother and a wife. Now, just because you're a business owner doesn't mean that you can't be a good wife. Okay. So you know your place, okay? But don't say, don't let nobody say, you're gonna be my wife and that's it. Because you got a brain, okay? Your brain say, I can fly, I can stand tall, I can make money on the stock market, I can do other things, you know? So do it. You control your destiny, and you do have the power to succeed. That no one discourage you from reaching your mightiest dream. And that's going to be my power thought for today. Until next week, we're going to see you on Good News at Primetime. This is Sylvia Hayes and Reginal Drama, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.